smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Safe and sound.
How do? What's going on, everyone? It's another week. It's another DylanLasagna live. It's another Friday. For those of you that haven't seen me yet, welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream. I've been streaming about 2 times in the last 24 hours. I plan to continue to streaming a bunch more games. So here we are. It's DylanLasagna live, episode number 43, going strong to number 50, coming soon in a couple more weeks. And hopefully we get more news coming in. But there is still some good news. There's still some like juicy stuff coming in. With regards to these news topics. Obviously the main topics of the show are gonna be the upcoming changes to the NFL playoffs, and obviously some personal wrestling highlights of the week. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? One click means the world to me. And if you're new, if you're obviously watching the stream, you could give it a like, or if you don't like what I'm hearing or what you're hearing from me right now, you could give it a dislike. Anything you want to do to support the channel. Leave a comment, chat in the chat section. anything. Your presence means the world to me right now. Like, and anytime I stream or put something up on the channel. But anyway, let's get the show rolling here on DylanLasagna live. Obviously a lot has happened in such a dry month. Obviously you had the Animal Crossing Direct yesterday. I'm not gonna discuss that like very like detailed, like Game Explain has done or Switch Force has done, or like the guys like RGT85 or Spawnwave has done, because I'm just not that kind of like fan of Animal Crossing. Even if I was like an Animal Crossing fan, it's just like I want to be surprised by this game. I'm considering picking it up, but at the same time, I don't know if it's really worth picking up for my first Animal Crossing game. But I would like to have someone convince me otherwise to pick up Animal Crossing. Is it worth picking up, or is it just a game that's just part of a trend? But we'll see. other than the E3 Direct where we learned about Animal Crossing, I didn't watch the Animal Crossing Direct yesterday because I just want to be surprised. I want to be this is this is one of these games that I want to be legit surprised by when it comes to the Switch, because it's just like, I don't know, I just want to go in blind. Because I just want to be left maybe either unexpected or maybe, wow, this sucks. But anyway, I want it to be genuine, so maybe I'll pick up Animal Crossing, maybe not, but we'll see. Anyway, let's get to the normal thing we do here on this show, and that is talk about this week's random tidbit. And oh boy, I don't know, guys. This week's random tidbit involves WWE. I mean, what else is new with WWE? Because there was an interesting thing that's been going on with WWE and their pay-per-views, not because of Saudi Arabia or WrestleMania coming up, but it's how WWE might produce their pay-per-views going forward, or like air it going forward, and it could be a concern for many of us WWE fans and even viewers watching worldwide. So, according to Mike Chiari of Bleacher Report, he got a lot of different sources in here. So, WWE is reportedly in talks to sell its pay-per-view rights to ESPN. You all know ESPN. Even if you don't watch sports, you should be familiar with the Sports Center memes where they go da-na-na, da-na-na. You should at least be familiar with that. So, WWE is reportedly in talks to sell its pay-per-view rights to ESPN and its ESPN Plus subscription service. So ESPN Plus is $4.99 a month, but that's not where it's concerning. So let's continue reading this. According to Dave Meltzer, our good friend Dave Meltzer, WWE became interested in selling its pay-per-view rights after seeing ESPN pay UFC a significant amount of money to air its pay-per-views. So obviously the WWE network costs $9.99 a month, $119 approximately a year, according to Bleacher Report. So this is pretty much how we access every pay-per-view, every takeover, and all the retro content you see on the network. So although ESPN Plus is actually cheap, $5 cheaper than the network, you still have to pay for the pay-per-view. So pretty much we're going back to our old roots of paying $60 a month for a pay-per-view. Yeah, that's a big yikes, y'all. That's a big yikes. So if WWE were to go the UFC route and be a part of ESPN Plus, you have to not only buy a $5 ESPN Plus subscription, but you also have to pay approximately $64.99. Well, this is for UFC events. $4.99 for the ESPN Plus subscription, plus $64.99 for UFC fights on pay-per-view. So if WWE were to take that route, you most likely assume the same thing, and that's insane. I find that really insane. I don't know what Vince would be thinking. Yeah, I know he's a businessman and wants to make the most money, but it's just like, I don't know, what incentive would you be having for a fan? What's the biggest persuasive element that you could give to fans of subscribing to ESPN Plus for I don't know, it could be the big 4 pay-per-views, but it could also be all pay-per-views. It's just impossible. That's why people love the WWE network so much. You can watch the pay-per-views at an affordable price. However, I mean, at the same time, it's like it says here on that WWE network subscriptions have been on the decline. I mean, that's partially due to the declining quality of the WWE product, but again, that's on Vince to let his writers and give the writers more creative freedom if the writers weren't on such crack. But anyway, I digress. I don't think moving to ESPN Plus would be beneficial at all, because it would cost fans even more money to pay for the pay-per-views. We're just pretty much going back to our old roots here. And even though it makes Vince money, it's at the same time, it's gonna just like drive people away from the product even further. But at the end of the day, it's like I said before, it's all about the ducats. It's all about the money. But I don't know if this really happens. I don't know. A lot of people are gonna cancel their network subscriptions, because it's like, if they take away the pay-per-views, what do you really got left of the WWE network? NXT is gone. All you got left is NXT UK and 205 Live. But who, like, aside from the hardcore WWE fan, who really watches NXT UK and 205 Live? I mean, you got the retro content. I check those out every now and then when I have money to buy a WWE network subscription. But it's just like, who else would like buy WWE network subscription when there's possibly no monthly pay-per-views, especially for the big four pay-per-views? It's crazy. It's just crazy. But I would personally not like that to happen. I would not like that to happen at all. All right, let's move into our main topics of today, which are starting with the NFL, our National Football League. So, for those of you that follow the NFL and are always salty that your team misses the playoffs, like your so beloved Cleveland Clowns or your Super Bowl hungover LA Rams, even with the winning record, well, next season possibly your team may have a chance to get in the playoffs, no matter how bad your record is or no matter how bad your team plays. So this is according to NFL insider Adam Schefter from ESPN, reported on Wednesday, February 19th of this year. So he reports, and I quote, "If and when a transformational collective bargaining agreement is finalized, it is expected to change the NFL's playoff structure as it currently constitutes for next season. Under the current CBA proposal that owners are pushing for, the playoff field would be expanded to 7 teams. You heard that right. 7 teams in each conference, while the regular season would be increased to 17 games. I find that already insane enough. Like, come on now. And the preseason shortened to 3 games per season. I mean, like, couldn't we just have like 2 games? In all honesty, I mean, I don't know. I find the like, I don't know. Maybe like, I guess 3 games in a preseason is fine. It's like 1 game. It's like 2 games are for like the dress rehearsal, and the third is just like to rest starters or give the everyone else like a chance to fight for a roster spot. I don't know. Anyway, as part of the main focus here is the playoff format. As part of the proposed playoff format, only 1 team from each conference would receive a first round bye, as opposed to the 2 that currently do. That would mean a revised postseason schedule that includes 6 games on Wild Card weekend, 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. The changes to the NFL's playoff format would take effect this upcoming season, assuming the new CBA is ratified beforehand. So hold on. So obviously, additionally, the players on teams that earn a first round bye will receive postseason pay for that weekend. And now the sides are trying to work through the final issues, include getting players to sign off on a 17-game regular season, which has been yet to be agreed to. which would not take effect until 2021 at the earliest. So, in regards to a 17 game regular season, I see a lot of players, I don't know, a lot of players would be disagreeing with it because it's just like the NFL is kind of like unsafe enough as it is. There's always injuries, not enough bye week. I think 17 game regular season, you probably have 2 bye weeks, and then I'm not sure how it works. I'm not sure how it would work. Someone educate me on that. But in regards to the playoff format, I can honestly see in 10 years time, or whenever the new collective bargaining agreement, the one after this one is agreed upon, I can see the new collective bargaining agreement after this proposed one goes into effect, have a new yet another new playoff format that borrows ideas from the NBA. So you get another playoff team in the mix, and there are no first round buys. It would completely eliminate first round buys. I know, and obviously the NFL probably doesn't want to eliminate the first round bye because it pretty much takes away the importance of like the big thing of one of the big elements of the playoffs. But who knows? It's kind of crazy for me. I don't know. I'm just like, that's sometimes the thing that goes in my head. Why doesn't the NFL have a 16 team playoff field like the NBA does? It's weird to me. But I don't know. At the same time, it's 8 seeds upsetting number 1 seeds. They come far and few between. But hell, I would like to see that kind of upset in the NFL. But it'll be very interesting to see that. Obviously, if this format was in effect last season, you've obviously seen a Steelers team that didn't have Big Ben in the playoffs. You wouldn't have seen like you still would have seen the Raiders, the Steelers, the Titans, and who else was, I think it was just those 3 teams left. I think it was, you could have seen the Steelers and the Raiders fighting for the 7th and final playoff spot had that format been in place. And then as for the NFC, obviously it would go to the Rams because despite how hungover they were from the Super Bowl, they would have gotten it because of their record alone. So I can't really say if I'm in support of the new playoff format, because here's the thing. I still don't understand, like, looking at this, there's still no mention, correct me if I'm wrong, about reseeding teams based on their regular season record alone. So what the NBA does this, obviously, yeah, just because the NBA does this doesn't mean the NFL will do it. Now, I understand the NFL doesn't want to reseed, or doesn't want to base seeding on regular season record, because it would obviously take away like the emphasis on division rivalries and like all that stuff. But come on, just because you win the division doesn't mean you should win, or doesn't mean you should get a home game. Like, think about this. This recent playoffs, you got a injury riddled Philadelphia Eagles that was 9-7 going up against, what was the Seahawks record? 12-4 as a wild card. A 12-4 Seahawks team had to go to Philly. If the seeding was based on regular season record, the Seahawks would have been hosting the Eagles. Now, I think basing things on regular season record alone is more quality than what we're getting right now. I mean, yeah, I know it's like crazier things that happen with the under the current format, but it's just like, come on now. It just makes like the whole like seeding look inferior, man. It just does. It just really does. I mean, at the same time, it's like this divisional rivalry BS. It could still be done in the regular season when if everything was based on if the seeding and the playoffs were based on regular season alone, the division rivalries will certainly have a background on who's gonna everyone's gonna be jockeying for better playoff seeding. And yes, they want the division title, but it's all about getting a better seed in the playoffs. You want to go from a 4 seed to a 3 seed? Oh, well, you got to go face your division rival first. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy how the NFL is not looking at reseeding the playoffs based on your overall regular season record. Not just handing a home game to the division winner based on winning the division on a silver platter. And obviously the one thing you obviously get is the battle for the number 1 seed, which will be the only thing. The top seed would be the only team that gets a bye in each conference, and obviously home field advantage throughout the whole playoffs in each conference. So I think that would make for more interesting late season battles. So I think that's a plus in all this. The 7th seed is a bit more debatable. You could see a lot of like losing teams trying to like make their ways into playoffs against, like, let's say inferior winning teams. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you could make the same argument for an 8-team like playoff format, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this works. I'm curious to see how this works. What's up, Noob Gucci? I'm really intrigued to see how all of this is gonna work. If this new collective bargaining agreement comes into effect and the playoff format is completely overhauled. So we'll see. We will see. All right, to wrap things up on this relatively short episode of Dylan Lasagna Live, we have some wrestling highlights. I'm going to share my personal wrestling highlights of the week. Starting off with the Elimination Chamber match for the women's division, because the reason why I want to talk about this is that WWE picked the wrong women's division Elimination Chamber match to do. I'm wondering, why are they doing the wrong Elimination Chamber match? Because here's the thing that they're doing. They're doing Natalya, Asuka, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Shayna Baszler in an Elimination Chamber match to face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's title. Even the most casual fan knows who's gonna win this match to face Becky Lynch at Mania. You have to be seriously seriously in the head to not know who's gonna win this match. I don't know. It's just like, I mean, obviously anything can happen in the WWE, but it's just like all signs are obviously pointing towards Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. But I don't know. I guess they just wanted to do this match as like a stopgap for Baszler, and I don't know. I just don't see like any like appeal to this match whatsoever when it's gonna look like a a big ass squash match for Baszler. Because look at half the field. You got Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. They're in a feud, so it kind of makes sense for them to be in this match, so they can extend this feud between them. Sarah Logan, she hasn't done jack shit like all year, all year so far, other than getting squashed by Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Natalya hasn't done anything either ever since losing to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. And Asuka has lost twice to Becky. So, I don't know. Does she really want to lose 3 times and to kill her credibility? I don't know. Maybe if, like, Sarah Logan was replaced by Kairi Sane to maybe increase some tension between the Kabuki Warriors, I would be a little intrigued. Maybe. And it would, like, also reignite a little tease between that little rivalry Kyrie and Shayna Baszler had back in NXT. But instead, we got this match. And I understand they want to make Baszler look as threatening and strong and obviously pretty dominant to Lynch as possible for Mania, but it's just like it just kind of looks too predictable. It looks too predictable. But to look at it from the objective standpoint, it's like there really wasn't anyone else Becky Lynch could have faced at the pay-per-view. You could have had Baszler face Becky at Elimination Chamber, but obviously you gotta hold that off till Mania. But there really wasn't anyone else Becky could have faced at the Elimination Chamber, so I guess the Raw Women's Elimination Chamber had to happen. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Also on Monday Night Raw, you had Randy Orton and Matt Hardy. They were supposed to go at it in a street fight, but Matt Hardy was in a neck brace. He wasn't cleared to compete, but he still wanted to fight Randy Orton because he was still mad at him for like trying to like get him to explain what happened for what he did to Edge, and then trying to get something out of him. But Randy Orton was having none of it. He RKO'd neck injury riddled Matt Hardy. He hit him with the chair. He bruised him. He battered him. He gave him a concerto on the steel steps twice. And I guess this was WWE's way of writing off Matt Hardy officially from WWE because his contract expires in, I think, a week or two. And yeah, that's pretty much how it'll be. Pretty much how it'll be for Matt Hardy. I think Matt Hardy will obviously go to AEW. He might be the leader for the Dark Order, but we'll see. We'll see what happens to Matt Hardy. But this looks like it was his swan song from WWE. Clearly, he didn't have enough creative leverage to use his ever popular broken character that was clearly watered down in WWE because Vince clearly didn't see any potential in it. But whatever happens with Matt Hardy next, wish him all the best. Speaking of AEW, I actually got home from school in time to catch the main event. By the way, I haven't seen AEW in weeks, and I still remember some part of the main storyline that's going on with Cody and MJF. So the main event of this week's Dynamite is Cody Rhodes versus MJF's bodyguard Wardlow in a steel cage match. This was the last stipulation for Cody in order to make his match against MJF official at AEW Revolution, which happens next Saturday night. So yeah, I remember this. And I haven't watched AEW in weeks. So obviously Cody can't touch MJF, and he had to take 10 lashes from Wardlow and MJF. I think that was last week that happened. So first things first, the cage looks dope. Let me see if I can find the picture of the cage. AEW steel cage. Let me see if I can find a good photo. Well, it's all black and white, but I guess I could show you this picture. Yeah, there you go. So there's the steel cage. It looks pretty dope. If you watched Dynamite this week, I like this cage setup. It reminds me of Hell in a Cell, but obviously you don't have the roof, and then you got these little gaps here between the ring apron and the cage. And what's funny with AEW cage matches is that you can't win by escaping the cage. So it's pretty much a pin or submit glorified cage match. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see. So for the match itself, you had Wardlow dominating a good portion of it. Cody tried to get some offense, hit a disaster kick on him. It dazed Wardlow a bit, but not too much. And before the commercial break, Wardlow busts Cody open, makes him bleed slamming his head on the cage wall. And I'm actually kind of glad that TNT is allowing AEW to go balls to the walls by saying shit on national TV. I mean, who doesn't say that on TV anymore? And making them bleed. So there's literally no restrictions. Obviously, you can't like show your tits and anything, or like girls can't show their tits or anything, or get nude on national TV without any filters or like that. But it's just like blood or all that stuff. TNT is letting AEW like do like what they want, as long as it's like obviously doesn't push anything to the limit. But it's pretty cool. So after the commercial break, Wardlow's still dominating Cody around the ring, and at one point in the match, you have Wardlow throwing Cody into the cage door like a battering ram. So the cage door opens. JR pointed out that the cage door is always like unlocked, and obviously there's the point that you can't win the cage match in AEW by just escaping the cage. If you did, and like Wardlow like threw Cody like a battering ram, like he did on Wednesday night, Cody could have just crawled out of the cage and won. But no, you can't do that in AEW. So the door's open. MJF is trying to convince Arn Anderson, Cody's coach for like 2 weeks, I guess. He's trying to convince Arn Anderson to turn on Cody, but obviously Arn Anderson hits MJF instead with the door. It's like, and briefly knocks out MJF. So Cody is back in the game for a bit. He hits a disaster kick on Wardlow, then he hits a crossroads for a 2 count, and then he looks up at the cage, he climbs up, and then he hits a big ass moonsault on Wardlow to get the win. That was a pretty sick moonsault, if you ask me. So Cody wins the match, and he and MJF are set to go face to face at Revolution next Saturday. And honestly, this was one of the only storylines, actually the only storylines that's keeping me intrigued with AEW. Obviously there's Jon Moxley and Jericho, but I haven't seen what the hell they've been doing for like weeks because I don't know. In all honesty, AEW has, I don't know, lost my interest. It just lost my interest with all the spot fests and undefined characters and AEW's of lack of dedication to tell me who these wrestlers are and why I should care about them. But hey, it's like I guess the common fans' defense is, oh, just Google search them or just do a YouTube search on them. It's like, it's not my job to learn who they are. It's the commentator's job to tell me who they are. Or it's the promotion's job to tell me who they are. It's not my job to know who they are. But anyway, I'm just a simple man. But anyway, that was pretty much the wrestling highlights for the week. And that was pretty much all I have for the topics for tonight for Dylan Lasagna Live. So obviously look out for the playoff format changes for the NFL if the CBA gets approved by the players. The owners approved of it. Now it's on the players to discuss and see if they want to move forward with it. Obviously one of the biggest talking points is not just the playoff format, but the 17-game regular season. I think that's the biggest thing that they're going to talk about. And they're set for a vote on Thursday, this Thursday. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. And obviously keep an eye out on this whole Shayna Baszler, Becky Lynch storyline. And obviously Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. And if you watch NXT Wednesday night, Bianca Belair interrupted a women's division match. I don't know who was in it, but she interrupted a match midway and she called out Charlotte Flair because if you watch TakeOver Portland, Rhea Ripley beat Belair to retain her NXT Women's title, and then Charlotte attacked Rhea Ripley and she made her match official with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. And then after Charlotte was about to leave, she threw Bianca Belair into the steel steps. So obviously keep an eye out for a possible extension of the feud, but of a possible feud and match between Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair. I hope that I'm not sure if it would be a triple threat match at Mania. I highly doubt it at this point because I don't think that's the direction WWE is going to take. But what's this? But anyway, I just think that if WWE want to integrate Bianca Belair into this storyline with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, why not just have Bianca Belair face Charlotte the night before? Make Charlotte fatigued for Mania. You know, since NXT is gonna have a presence at Mania, make Charlotte Flair like work for her Royal Rumble opportunity, or like make Charlotte Flair hampered for Mania by persuading her to come to TakeOver to face Bianca Belair, and then the night after she can go to WrestleMania. Obviously she had that hard fighting match against Bianca Belair. Now she has to go into Mania against Rhea Ripley. She's not 100%, but she still has to give it her all, and hopefully Rhea Ripley wins. The right person wins. But I that's how I would book it. That's how I would book it. So we'll see. Could we get 2 Charlotte matches on WrestleMania weekend in the span of 2 days? We'll see. I don't see Bianca Belair in a triple threat with Ripley and Flair for the title at Mania, but I do see her staying within the storyline because she is an X factor I do think she will get a singles match out of Charlotte Flair on WrestleMania weekend somehow, some way, at NXT Takeover Tampa Bay. And we'll see how everything goes. I'm sorry to hear that, noob, that you injured yourself. What happened? But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you for this week's edition of Dylan Lasagna Live. If you want to see more of me streaming a bunch of random stuff, come by tonight. I'll be streaming Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. I'll be looking at the final Grand Prix season. It's Gas Moxia is the theme. Nitrous Oxide's like home planet. It's the theme for the final season of the Grand Prix seasons, and CTR Nitro Fueled. After that, no more Grand Prix. It's just like periodical like updates with like new characters and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna be taking a look at that tonight because it's the weekend bonus. You get double coins and all that stuff. But join me tonight, 8 o'clock, maybe a little later, depending on when I can stream it. But stay tuned for that. Anyway, everyone, thank you all for joining me for another edition of Dylan Lasagna Live. If you liked this episode or disliked it, take your pick. Just take your pick. And if you're watching the replay, give a comment, share out your feelings on any of the topics or just how you feel about me doing these shows. And if you're not already, what are you waiting for? Press that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. All right, everyone, always be delicious, and I will see you all next time. Take care, everyone.